The NFL offseason is here. We are a week away from the NFL Combine, and trades are about to go down. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and on today's show, we're going to take a look at 5 trade candidates that are wide receivers that I think Joe Schoen and John Harbaugh should take a look at. First, you got to understand who's on this roster. You have Malik Nabers, you have Darius Slayton, you have Jalen Hyatt, and Bo Collins. And that's it. Wan'Dale Robinson is a free agent. Isaiah Hodgins is a free agent. Gunnar Olszewski is a free agent. You cannot roll into next season with just Malik Nabers, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, and Bo Collins. The Giants are going to make moves at the wide receiver position this offseason, and it's going to start with their decision on Wan'Dale Robinson in NFL free agency. Do they want to bring him back? What is the price point that they are comfortable bringing him back at? Or is he going to get a bag like 4 years and $70.5 million from another team? The Athletic, Pro Football Focus, and Spotrac has put out player contract projections heading into NFL free agency, and these are all over the place, but I would love to bring back Wan'Dale Robinson for 3 years and $48 million. I think $21 million might be a little bit steep, whereas 4 years for $70.5, I just really don't feel like that is a number that the New York Giants want to go to. So Wan'Dale may be gone, and you have to ask the question, will Malik Nabers be ready come week 1, coming off that ACL surgery, also had other damage in that knee when he had that injury against the Los Angeles Chargers, and you don't know if he's going to be ready. And you need to have someone that Jaxson Dart can rely on and trust in the weeks that Nabers potentially won't be ready or is ramping back up and getting back to the player that he was his first year and 3 games in the NFL. You also have to ask the Darius Slayton question. Will he be on this team next year? At a cap hit of $16 million, it's one of the worst contracts in the entire National Football League. Unfortunately, if you cut him, you don't save any money. Just $250,000. That's not moving any needles, but you could look to a trade. Could you potentially add Darius Slayton in a 7th-round pick to a team that needs a receiver, get a 6th-round pick back, and save $10 million? Maybe it's a Darius Slayton in a 6th or a 5th since the Giants don't have a 7th, but you catch my drift. Hopefully the Giants can find a trade partner for him, save $10 million, and give that money to somebody else. It comes down to this. If the Giants don't pick a wide receiver with the number 5 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, they have to make a big-time move and a big-time addition to this wide receiver group. And even if you do bring back Wan'Dale Robinson and you don't draft a receiver number 5, I still think you need to go out and make a big-time move. Let's start with 5 guys that I think could be on the trade block or potentially cut by their teams. And let's go to Indianapolis. Michael Pittman, the big-bodied wide receiver, was recently mentioned as a cap cut casualty by NFL.com. And if he is cut, the New York Giants should be interested. But as we've seen, teams that have cap cut casualties can look to gauge the market of what these guys are worth across the other 31 NFL teams. 28 years old, 6'4", 225 pounds, known as a tough, crafty, short, and intermediate route runner, and just 1 year left on his contract. You look at what he's done in the NFL throughout his career. He was awesome in 2022. He was great in 2023. And then there were some quarterback issues for the Indianapolis Colts in 2024. And this year he played with a different cast of quarterbacks. What I really like about him is he is a strong-handed wide receiver. 135 times he's been thrown the football in contested catch situations, and he's brought down 71 of them. So more than a 50% contested catch success rate in his career. That is someone that I want. 6'4", I think he is a good kind of balance to go with Malik Nabers. He can line up in the slot. He does that at about a 30% snap rate, and he can line up outside. He also could be a cap cut casualty like we talked about. So if he is a free agent, he is someone that I do think the New York Giants will be interested in. He's not a perfect wide receiver, and he doesn't do everything great. You talk about some pros and some cons. He's a big-bodied, over the middle of the field wide receiver. I think that would really go a long way for the development of Jaxson Dart. We've consistently seen him want to target that middle of the field. He operates best when he's throwing in between the numbers and in between the hashes. Pittman could do that. He can line up in the slot, post that 6'4" body up, and show off those strong hands. What he lacks is big-time playmaking ability. Not an explosive wide receiver. I think he's played 5 or 6 years in the NFL. Up to this point, only 21 catches of 20-plus yards in his career. So if you do add Pittman, you need to understand that he's more of a chain mover than the guy that's going to take the top off the defense. And then you have to ask the question, is that the type of wide receiver that John Harbaugh wants on this team? When it comes to trade value, does like a 4th-round pick get it done? Does an early day 3 pick incentivize the Indianapolis Colts enough to trade him to the New York Giants? I think a 4th-round pick is around what I would be willing to trade for him, but the Colts, they will be the ones that have to make that decision with the cap and where they're at. Going to have to pay Daniel Jones. You know he's going to take him for all the money that they have. They're going to have to save some money. Trading Michael Pittman could do that. A wide receiver I am very interested in is DJ Moore. Dating back to his days as a Carolina Panther, I loved DJ Moore. I've talked about him on this channel as a trade target for the New York Giants numerous times, and I think he would be a great 1-2 punch with Malik Nabers. 28 years old, 6 foot. He's a big 6 foot, 6'1". We saw him make some big-time contested catches in the playoffs. Go ask the Green Bay Packers when the Bears sent them home. And he also had a big-time play against the Packers late in the regular season. I think he's one of the more well-rounded wide receivers in the game. He can line up in the slot. He can line up on the outside. You can manufacture him touches in the screen game, some jet sweeps. He's really good with the ball in his hands, and he can take the top off the defense. The production kind of dipped a little bit, though, in 2025. But there was also a lot of mouths to feed in Chicago. Rome Odunze had a heck of a start to his sophomore season with Chicago. Luther Burden came on as the season grew. You also have 2 really good tight ends there with Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. So it just seems like, and I talked to my guy Harrison Graham, who covers the Bears here, and he was like, he just seems like the odd man out. And with the contract and the money that they can save, it's something they will be interested in. But if you can get back to that 2023 version of DJ Moore, 96 grabs, almost 1,400 yards and 8 touchdowns, that'll be a huge boost to this Giants offense. If you do trade for him, he will have cap hits of $24.5 million for the next 4 seasons. But 2026 is the last year of his deal where he has guaranteed money. So if you do trade for him in 2026 and he struggles, you can just cut him in 2027, save $20 million, move on, and apply that money somewhere else. But ideally, this is a piece that's going to be here for a while. What's it going to cost? Harrison told me potentially a 4th-round pick could get it done. He asked me, would you trade Kayvon Thibodeau for DJ Moore? I ideally would like the Bears to add a little bit more, maybe a draft pick to that. Like, does Kayvon Thibodeau for DJ Moore and a 4th-round pick get it done? I think that would be hard to say no to if you're the New York Giants. I like DJ Moore a lot. I would appreciate having him on this football team. A wide receiver that we have not talked about on this channel that I think could be on the move this offseason is Jordan Addison, the former Pitt Panther and USC Trojan, kind of falling out of favor a little bit in Minnesota. There's been some off-the-field issues with him, and that 5th-year option is looming. And there's been some talk that maybe the Minnesota Vikings don't feel comfortable exercising the 5th-year option for Jordan Addison. But, man, his first 3 seasons in the NFL, there has been a lot of production. His rookie year, 70 grabs, 900-plus yards, 10 touchdowns. 2024 with Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson, 63 more grabs for 875 and 9 touchdowns. This year, missed some time, some injuries, and playing with J.J. McCarthy, that will take a hit to your receiving numbers. Ask Justin Jefferson. You can't ignore the off-the-field stuff. A big-time speeding violation, driving 145 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone, a DUI in 2024, a trespassing charge at a casino in January of this year. Then when they went overseas earlier in the season, there were some rumors that some bad things were going on. Head coach Kevin O'Connell sat him for the first quarter after he missed a walkthrough. And the repeated issues have led to speculation about the Vikings' willingness to exercise their 5th-year option. I reached out to my guy Patrick Sweetman and asked him, what do you think the trade value is for Addison? He told me a second-round pick. I said, you are drunk, my friend. The Giants are not trading pick number 37 to the Minnesota Vikings for Jordan Addison, a player that has had some off-the-field issues and isn't really loved inside that locker room. And I don't know if you could be trusted. Giants don't have a third-round pick, but does potentially a fourth and a fifth, or can you add some sort of deal together? Maybe it's Kayvon Thibodeau and a fourth going for Jordan Addison. I think he's a really good receiver. He can run routes. He can separate. He's good after the catch. He has a full route tree, good hands. I don't love that he's 6 foot or 5'11" more so, and you'd have two smaller receivers. I know Nabers plays bigger, but Addison's still young, not even in his prime yet. I just have a little bit of a worry about some off-the-field stuff. Two more wide receivers we're going to talk about on today's show, but with St. Patty's Day right around the corner, the time to get your green shirt is now, and we've cooked up a Giants Now by Chat Sports St. Patty's Day shirt. Go to chatsports.com/GiantsGreen. Get your shirt today. When it shows up, put it on, take a picture of your beautiful self, send it to me on social media, and we will feature it on the show. We've talked a lot about Jaylen Waddle as a trade target for the Giants. I still think he ranks as one of the highest guys on the priority list for them at 1925 Giants Drive. And as well for me. I said I want to talk about him at the top of the show because I've used a lot of words on Waddle before, and I'd be willing to make a big-time trade for Jaylen Waddle. Still just 27 years old. The Giants had big-time interest in him in the weeks leading up to the NFL trade deadline. And now with the Miami Dolphins kind of stripping down their roster, cutting Tyreek Hill, potentially trading Minkah Fitzpatrick, moving on from Bradley Chubb, and cutting some veteran offensive linemen, could they maybe look to move Jaylen Waddle, cash that chip in, get a big return, and apply it to the future building of that team? They're talking about moving on from Tua. Winning games doesn't seem like it's the priority for the Dolphins next year. And I think Jaylen Waddle would like to go somewhere else and compete. I think he could be a wide receiver one in this league. He had some big-time games this year. Once Tyreek Hill went down, he did it with some lackluster QB play as well. I think he'd be a perfect pairing next to Malik Nabers. He'd bring another explosive element to this offense. And while, yes, it would cost a lot in a trade to go and get Jaylen Waddle, the cap money isn't all that bad. Like his cap hit, if you acquire him 2026, only $7.8 million. The next 2 years, though, $30 million and $33 million. And then he has some void years on his contract as well. Good player, young player, just scratching his prime. Like the Miami Dolphins probably want a first-round pick for him. I'm not willing to offer number 5 overall for Jaylen Waddle. What about the New York Giants offer the second-round pick and Darius Slayton? What if it's a second-round pick and Kayvon Thibodeau? A second-round pick this year, a third-round pick next year. You're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to give up a lot because if you add Jaylen Waddle, he's going to bring a lot to your football team. Let's close today's show talking about another LSU Tiger, one of the best friends of Malik Nabers. That's Brian Thomas Jr. Of all the players mentioned on today's show, I think he's probably the least likely to be dealt. But remember at the NFL trade deadline, there was reports that they were listening to trade offers from other teams. And something between him and Trevor Lawrence just wasn't clicking this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if the Jags are serious about moving BTJ, I want the Giants to seriously try to go get that deal done. A perfect compliment to Nabers. We saw in his rookie year, he flashed all-pro potential. He was a really good player. 87 grabs, almost 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns. 14.7 yards per catch. Then in 2025, the numbers kind of fell off a little bit. The drops kind of rose a little bit. And I don't really know what was going on. It looked like he had a case of the yips almost. But I think coming to the Giants and playing alongside Nabers, and hopefully he has a better chemistry with Dart if he is traded, I think that could produce some big-time results. So also going to take a big-time trade package. They're going to want a first-round pick. Again, I wouldn't trade number 5 overall. But is there maybe like some sort of trade-down situation? I know the Jags are picking closer to 32. I don't know if you want to fall that far down. But can you get creative with pick number 37? Adding a player or adding future first-round pick. I don't know. I like BTJ a lot. I'd stay away from trading any future first-round picks. But I would really like to have number 7 on the New York Giants. We talked about 5 guys on today's show. Again, I think big changes are coming to the wide receiver room, especially if Wan'Dale is gone and you don't plan on picking a receiver at number 5. I guess we'll find out if the Giants are going to pick a receiver at 5 based off their moves in free agency. I think if they go out and make a splash move for, let's say, DJ Moore or Jaylen Waddle, you probably don't pick a receiver at 5. It's pretty exciting that we're going to know what this football team is going to look like coming up really short. Give me a receiver you want the Giants to trade for, and make sure you are following me on social media. You can find me on Twitter and IG at @MarshallGreen_.